In this lesson, we're going to look at various display options available when managing your content types. First, you have the form display. Let's go over to the form display for the article content type by looking at the Exploring Spices article and the edit form for that article. Most sites are only as good as their content, so it's really worthwhile to spend the time to make your form as clean and logical as you possibly can. This is even true if you are the only content editor on the site. The easier it is to manage content on your site, the more you will keep your content fresh and relevant, which has a lot of positives, not only making your site wonderful, but also making your site more appealing to search engines. We're looking at the edit form for the article content type by looking at an existing article that we've already created. If we want to change the way that this form displays, we're going to need to go under Manage, Structure. This is where content types will be found and managed. Under Operations, rather than choosing Manage Fields or Edit, I'm going to choose Manage Form Display. Now there are a lot of options available to me here. If I scroll down, you'll see all of the fields, including those fields created by Drupal, such as the authored by fields. They're all available to us here to reorder. We have these little grabby handles. So for example, we can take the photo credit field that we created and drag it up right under image, which makes logical sense in terms of entering content. It also allows me to change the widget for fields. So some of these fields will only have one widget option, such as text field. So I can choose text field or I can hide this. One reason I might hide a field is if I have a piece of information that I need on every piece of content in a specific content type. Maybe that piece of information is automatically filled in by some other factor influencing the content. This could be done through tokens, which is a more advanced topic. And then it can be hidden to the person filling out the form so that they don't realize that that particular field exists and it doesn't clutter their interface. Some field types, however, have multiple options in terms of how they can display for the content editor and what the tool is that they can use. This field has three different options available in addition to hidden. It starts with autocomplete term widget, but we could also offer checkboxes or a select list if we wanted to. On the far right, you have the little gear that indicates settings. Let's go ahead and click on that for the photo credit field. And now there are things that we can change about this particular field and how it displays to the content editor. For example, we can make the field larger if we want to. I'll make it 100 characters, so it's a larger field. We can also add placeholder text. This is not default text. This is text that the content editor will see, not text that exists in the field, regardless of whether the content editor enters something or not. So I'm going to go ahead and add here information that will help the content editor know what needs to go in here. I'll update this, and I need to save this form now that I've made changes. Otherwise, my changes may not actually be stored. So now let's go back to that spices article and take a look at the form and how it's changed. I'm going to scroll down here. And actually, there isn't really any change because the photo credit field already displayed underneath the photo field itself. So now we're going to go ahead and add a new article. And in the photo credit field, you'll see that placeholder text that we entered. It's grayed out, which means it's not really there. It's only there to help me understand what I need to do with this particular field. If I click in here and start typing, then that text will disappear. This can be very helpful in terms of setting up a form that makes sense for the person entering content. Let's go back to the Exploring Spices blog post. We're going to scroll down here and see where that photo credit field lands. Photo credit is displayed at the very bottom of the article, and that doesn't really make a lot of sense because it's so far removed from the photo that it almost doesn't satisfy the Creative Commons license agreement. The next thing we're going to do, therefore, is change the way that the fields display to the public. So I'm going to go back to Structure, Content Types, and under Operations, I'm going to choose Manage Display. I'm going to scroll down here and find that photo credit field, drag it up under the image, and I'm going to set the label to be inline rather than above. Now I'll go ahead and save this. Let's go back to the spices article and see how that changed things. Now we see the photo credit has actually appeared directly below the photo. So this makes a lot more sense in terms of the order of content on the site. I also set the label to display in line, so it says photo credit, Rain Michaels, all on the same line, rather than having a line break between photo credit and the name. If we go to the home page, the Exploring Spices article has the teaser displaying here, and this doesn't show the photo credit at all. Perhaps we want to make sure that we have all of our bases covered and the photo credit displays everywhere that the photo shows. If we want to do that, then we want to make sure that the photo credit also displays on the teaser. Let's go back to managing the display and see what we can do. You'll see that at the top of the Manage Display section, there are three options here: Default, RSS, and Teaser. RSS is for feeds. What fields are actually available in those feeds, and what order are those fields available in? Teaser is what's being used by that river of news on the home page. It's also something that can be used by views, so it's something that you definitely want to think about with your content types. If you click on that, you can customize how your content type displays in the teaser, as well as when the user is looking at the full piece of content. I'm going to scroll down here, and we'll see that photo credit lands under disabled. I'm going to go ahead and pull that up with the little grabby handle to enable it. And I'm just going to put it right under the body. I'm going to set the label to be inline, and then I'll go ahead and save this. Now if we go back to the home page and reload, we see that the photo credit now displays on that teaser. Let's go back to that Manage Display form because I want to point out one other feature. Let's go back to the Default tab here, and then scroll down to the bottom. You'll see a collapsed field set that says Custom Display Settings. If I click on that to expand it, I have a list here of displays that can be customized, and RSS and teaser are checked off. If I scroll up to the top, the ones that are checked off perfectly match the options available here, RSS and teaser. So this shows you that you can also change the way that content displays, for example, in search indexing or search results. And it gives you insight into the possibility of having other display modes available, perhaps with the help of additional contributed modules. The Display Suite module, which we've looked at in another lesson, is actually a module that will enable you to have additional view modes for displaying your content. That is a topic for a more advanced lesson. So to review, we have modified the way that the node form looks to make content entry easier for the editor. We have also modified the front-end display of content, including the field label and field order. We've done this so that it makes more sense for the content editor, which is something that we always want to make sure that we do.